HOA locked me out of my own ranch, so I sued them all for criminal trespassing. Have you ever been barred from your own land, your sanctuary, by people who think they own your rights? That's exactly what happened to Jake Larson, a rugged rancher in the rolling hills of Montana, whose dream property became a battleground when his HOA overstepped in ways that would make your blood boil. Jake had poured his life savings into a 50-acre ranch, a slice of paradise where he could raise cattle, ride horses, and breathe free under endless skies. The property came with a catch: a small, newly formed HOA governing a cluster of nearby estates, meant to maintain community standards. Jake didn't mind at first. Keep the roads clear. Fine. But then came Karen Whitaker, the HOA president with a clipboard and a vendetta. Karen, a retired lawyer with a knack for control, decided Jake's ranch wasn't up to code. His barn was too rustic, his fences too weathered, and his cattle? An eyesore. Without warning, Karen and her board sent a letter demanding Jake overhaul his property or face fines. When he ignored it, they escalated, locking the only access gate to his ranch with a heavy-duty chain and padlock, claiming it was for the community's safety. Jake was stranded, unable to reach his livestock, his home, or his livelihood. The truth unraveled like a storm breaking loose. Jake wasn't just dealing with a power-hungry HOA. He discovered they had no legal right to lock him out. The gate was on his property, not the HOA's common area, as confirmed by his deed and county records. Karen's board had fabricated a clause in the covenants, conditions, and restrictions, CC and RS, that didn't exist, claiming authority over private access roads. Jake, a man who valued his freedom above all, wasn't about to let this slide. He contacted a lawyer, Sarah Nguyen, a sharp-witted advocate who'd taken down overreaching HOAs before. Sarah dug into the HOA's governing documents and found a goldmine. Not only did the HOA lack authority to restrict Jake's access, but their actions violated state property laws. Trespassing, interference with private property, and even potential theft of services, since Jake couldn't tend to his cattle, were all on the table. Here's where it gets wild. While Sarah built the case, Jake uncovered a twist. Karen's right-hand man, Tom, a local contractor, had been pushing for community improvements that suspiciously benefited his own business. Tom's company had been hired to inspect properties, including Jake's, and was charging the HOA exorbitant fees for unnecessary reports. Even more shocking, a neighbor, Emily, a quiet retiree who'd been fined for her wildflower garden, revealed Tom had offered to fix her violations for a steep price. It was a racket, and Karen was either complicit or willfully blind. Emily's testimony became a dagger in Jake's arsenal, exposing the HOA's corruption and giving his case a human face: a widow bullied by the same board that targeted him. The confrontation was electric. Jake, armed with Sarah's legal firepower, filed a lawsuit against the HOA for criminal trespassing, breach of fiduciary duty, and intentional infliction of emotional distress. The courtroom buzzed as Karen took the stand, her polished demeanor cracking under Sarah's cross-examination. "Did you verify the gate was on HOA property before locking it?" Sarah asked. Karen stammered, admitting she relied on Tom's survey, which turned out to be a scribbled map on a napkin. The judge's eyes narrowed as Emily testified, her voice trembling but resolute, about the HOA's harassment. Jake, in his weathered boots, told the court how he'd found 2 calves dead from dehydration because he couldn't reach them in time. The room fell silent, the weight of his loss sinking in. Sarah then dropped the bombshell: evidence of Tom's financial ties to the HOA's funds, including invoices for work never done. Karen's empire crumbled like a house of cards in a windstorm. The judge ruled in Jake's favor, finding the HOA liable for trespassing and ordering them to pay $150,000 in damages, including compensation for his livestock and legal fees. Karen and Tom were personally fined for their roles, and the HOA board was dissolved, with a court mandate to hold new elections. Karen resigned in disgrace, her reputation shredded, and Tom's contracting business tanked after the scandal hit local news. Emily, once timid, became a vocal advocate for reform, rallying neighbors to rewrite the CC and RS to limit the HOA's power. Jake, Now free to run his ranch without interference, installed a new gate keyed only to him and put up a no trespassing sign, daring anyone to test him again. In the end, Jake's fight wasn't just about a lock or a gate. It was about standing up to bullies who hide behind rules to control others. His victory sent a ripple through the community, inspiring others to question their HOAs and demand transparency. Freedom, Jake learned, isn't just owning land, it's defending your right to it. So what do you think? Was Jake right to take the HOA to court, or should he have tried to negotiate first? Share your thoughts. Where do you draw the line when someone tries to take what's yours?